I've been hearing, I can't do that yet. Good morning. Hopefully everybody's doing great on this fine day. So I've got this lady that I just found that she's trying to explain why men are going their own way. We're going to figure that out real shortly, but men are going their own way because all they get when they go out to work and school and anything else are women, feminists, that are attacking them. If you got a warehouse job where there's a bunch of feminists involved, if you look at one of them the wrong way, you've sexually harassed them, and they're going to do a big investigation, especially with the feminists and the HR. Then you're going to lose your job, have to find another one. Amazon's a good one for that. Walmart's a good one for that. Tesla does it. Any big corporation does it that's gynocentric centered. They got to protect themselves from sexual harassment charges from the big bad men. But they've taken it too far because they get away with it. Everything's falling over and everything's doing the kinds of stuff that it shouldn't be doing, and I'm going to fix that. Put it someplace else. It's going to fall over there when I move it around in the chair. All this is feminists destroying the world. Then all these feminists, 18 to 40, they're sleeping around with everybody in the world. I've got hundreds of them on my chats that, they just want money to have sex. They'll tell you they need $10 or $20 or $50 to come over and spend the night and, put a smile on your face, come over and have sex. But, those women are going to be, the type of women that when they get 40, they're going to be complaining because nobody wants them no more. Where'd all the men go? How come I can't attract the big wealthy men anymore? All that stuff, they're going to get into the job market and destroy it. Especially for big warehouses. So I'd tell the men, if you're watching, not even to apply to big warehouses anymore, unless you're Spanish or, one of the protected classes. And black's not one of them anymore. It's not a protected class. The Spanish, the illegals, all that's the protected class nowadays. You should have looked at Minnesota with all the feminists doing that. And we can get into that later on a different channel because Tom Holman did a pretty good job with controlling that, which is driving them nuts. But it's still a fact that feminists are ruining marriage, ruining relationships. The courts, they're biased. And on the next video, we'll hear from James Sexton, the big shot lawyer that everybody likes to listen to about that. And we're going to find out from him about divorce and probably sex. But if men and women aren't working together and there aren't boundaries in the marriage, it ain't going to last. And if, the women's friends, the devil in the ear, as they call it, tell the married woman to be single because you don't need that big guy or that guy in your life. Grass is always greener on the other side of the road all the time. This is going way too far in the wrong direction. But yeah, the grass is greener, so they get divorced because it's popular. It's a thing to do. Then they take everything they can from the men. So men aren't, signing up for that anymore. And I don't blame them. I was trying, but, it didn't work out that way. So let's go ahead and line up to get this lady on this podcast and let her talk about men going their own way. And I should just drop that down. I wonder if it would. And see what a woman has to say about men going their own way. That'll work. So let's get it started. Recording is coming up. 1, 2, 3. Video should be coming in right about now.
Why men reached a point where many of them decided to step back from traditional relationships, marriage, and expectations placed on them. And whether people like it or not, this movement didn't appear from nothing.
Nope.
It appeared because of real experiences, real patterns, and real consequences that men face today. Hi guys, it's Anastasia, and welcome back to Matryoshka Tips.
Well, those consequences aren't just for today. They've been going on since the Egyptian Empire failed because of the same things. But, we don't look that far back in history. Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff popping up on this thing. So here we go. Let's see what we got going.
Channel. So, at its core, MGTOW simply means this: a man choosing to focus on his own life instead of centering his existence around relationships with women. That's it. It doesn't automatically mean hating women, being angry. It doesn't mean living alone forever. It means a man deciding that his time, energy, money, and emotional investment should first serve his own well-being. And for some men, that means no marriage. For others, no long-term relationships. For others, casual dating with clear boundaries. And for some, it simply means emotional distance and caution. And the key word here is choice. So why did this movement appear now? Why not 50 or 100 years ago? Well, the answer here is quite simple. Because the rules changed, but the expectations placed on men did not. Let's see. In the past, relationships were built on clear roles, right? Men were expected to provide and protect. Women were expected to support their home and family. And it wasn't perfect, but it was so clear. And men knew what they were working toward. Marriage gave men a family, stability, respect, and purpose. And today that structure is gone. Roles are unclear, expectations are contradictory, and the risks are higher than ever, especially for men. Modern men are told they must still provide, protect, lead, and commit. But they are also told that they are disposable, replaceable, and not needed. And they are expected to invest emotionally and financially, but they are not guaranteed loyalty, respect, or long-term stability in return. And, actually, men notice this imbalance slowly at first, then very clearly. And one of the big reasons MGTOW appeared is marriage risk. And according to official divorce trends, most divorces are initiated by women, right? Again, this is not an attack, it's a pattern. And when divorce happens, men often lose the most: access to their kids, financial stability, their home, and sometimes their mental health. And men saw their fathers, friends, co-workers, brothers go through all this. They watched men do everything right and still lose everything. So they started asking a simple question: why should I sign a contract where I carry most of the risk but I have very little control? And another reason MGTOW grew is modern dating culture. Dating today is very different from what it used to be. Social media changed everything. Attention is unlimited, comparison is constant, loyalty is tested daily. Men are no longer competing with one man, they are competing with thousands of options on the phone screen. And many men feel that no matter how much they give, they are always being compared to someone else. And that creates anxiety, actually, not connection. Men also notice that emotional labor became one-sided, like they are expected to listen, provide support, stay strong, but when they express needs, frustration, or exhaustion, they are often dismissed. And men are told to open.
Well, there you go. You get the general idea of her channel. What she's trying to say to you. Well, I got to get that off the screen. There you go. What she's saying, and it's really kind of crazy that some women channels are actually coming up with the right answers to these questions. But that's a good start, but we need to change the way women think about marriage or relationships. And truthfully, if we were going to do it right, where we wouldn't have all these problems she's talking about. Men and women would have to get married when the woman is 18 to 20. They'd have to be married. That way she's not ruined by sleeping around with a bunch of guys. Before they do anything, before they decide they're going to college, before they decide what job they're going to get, they should be married. I mean, that's the way we used to do it in the past, and it worked before, well, let's say World War II. And that's when everything went south for the marriage, because feminists rise and the birth control and women got empowered. They want more rights, more rights, and more rights. But they're just destroying themselves. They have been since the Gloria Steinem days, or the end of World War II with Rosie the Riveter. Depends upon how far back you want to look. Now, this men going their own way ideology is not something new to the planet. It's not something new to the society. Men going their own way has been going on since the dawn of time.
Sometimes take risks professionally. Never take any risks.
Shut up. That was Matt Walsh that popped in there. I didn't get the video queued up because of one I added in there. And when I get it queued up, we'll let Matt Walsh talk about social contracts and marriage and the word advice, light. Okay. See what he's talking about before I put him on, because Matt Walsh is one of those feminists, and from what I've been watching his channel and seeing, he's got the same idea as AOC for more or less what he's got going on. And he doesn't really understand because he's got, money, and men, he's one of those that men should just step up. But back to what we were saying, men going their own way was never just something that happened recently. It's been something that's been happening for the life of the planet. When women are around, it's not so prevalent because it was never something that was mainstream like it is right now. Men going their own way, they would just, focus on their work and whatever else they were doing, and, avoid social contact with the community or women or anything like that. But for the tribe, that was just one or two guys that just separated themselves from everybody there. And some people needed that. But what's going on now, it's just taken to a whole new level. If you think about it, most of the time women didn't have a lot of options, but that's still the Egyptian Empire. They had all the options in the world. If you look at the history books about the Egyptian Empire, they had God and everybody else there, just like we do here. They drove the three queens drove the Egyptian Empire, and that's what's happened to all the empires throughout history. If you look at them, right up to the Roman Empire. Women took charge and men stepped away, went their own way. So we can get into that a whole lot deeper, but this is just a taste of what we got going on, and I'm going to find out. Even with my warning, I'm pretty sure this channel will be taken down pretty soon, because YouTube doesn't like this type of answers, because they got to protect the women too. Because when you tell the truth and what's really going on, the YouTube kind of gets a little upset. But if they take this channel down, we'll just be talking to Rumble. So we'll just get some videos out, and hopefully everybody decides to watch to this point. So we'll go ahead and stop rambling here and go ahead and get off of this channel or this video, and y'all take care, be safe, and we'll see you with the next video in a couple days. All right.